So hi everybody, happy to meet you again for our weekly session. Welcome to the new number of 50inTech community. I'm Caroline, founder of 50inTech, and I will tell you a little bit about our mission. So we are on a mission to support women in tech in their journey and close the gender gap in tech. Tech should have no gender, but it's not. I will give you some data. We have only 50% of female entrepreneurs in the tech industry in Europe, only 10% worldwide. And according to the last state of European tech from Atomico, there is no material improvement in the share of capital invested in European tech companies going to diverse funding team. Only 8% of all the investment goes to gender balanced funding team, and 0.5 for funding for women funded team. And when we are talking about women of color, this is really nothing. Another situation for the European state of tech, I think we have very few female investors, so we are really proud to have you today, Deepali and Valentine. I will share you the last Crunchbase report, but Europe really lags behind the US in terms of VC gender equality. And with the COVID crisis, the situation won't be really better. So we need to organize ourselves, give you the codes and the connection to get there. So on 50inTech, you can match with peers and VCs to master the code of fundraising and get honest feedback on your deck. And when you are ready to raise, you can get in touch with them. You need to be to update your skills and interest, and you will be matched with people who are indicating investment, funding, or VC. Our advice is to be really precise and give some KPIs. If your connect request is accepted, 50inTech is doing the warm intro. So I prepared a little survey for you because we want to know more about the audience. So in the survey part, Gail, did you see the survey part just to indicate to everybody? I will open so the survey, and you just have to say if you are raising a pre-seed, a seed, a Series A, or you're just curious or part of the ecosystem or other. So I'm opening the vote now, and at the and I will close it in 5-10 minutes to have the overview about the session. So today we will talk about fundraising, of course, and we have two amazing seed investors with us. So from angel investment and also from seed VC firms. I'm very pleased to welcome Deepali Nangia and Valentine Baudoin-Barbelivien. And Deepali and Valentine, I will let you introduce yourself. So Deepali, you want to begin, please?
Sure. Thank you for having me, ladies, and welcome everybody. I hope you're all well and your families are safe. And for those who have little children or children and working from home, I hope it's going okay, because I have 2 children of my own and I know it's not easy, although my children are much older. So, it's slightly different from me. I am an advisor to female founders on their fundraisers. I've done this for many years now in the London ecosystem. I'm also an angel investor. I've invested in 6 female founders over the last few years, ranging from fintech to femtech to health sustainability. And this year I'm also investing out of the Atomico Angel Program. So I just made an investment in February out of that, and I'm looking to make another one very soon in femtech in the vaginal microbiome space. Other than that, I have 2 kids, I have a dog, I do a lot of mentoring for, Imperial College, for Oxford, for Zinc VC. I started recently a group to encourage more angel investing, so women to be more angel investors themselves and educate them around angel investing and to invest in female founders. It was me and 3 other people. We launched that at the end of last year. So my whole life is essentially female founders and angel investment. So that's what I do. And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Deepali. Valentine, it's your turn.
Yes, thanks a lot also for having me, and please apologize because I have a very low connection, so it's impossible for me to share my screen. So my name is Valentine Baudoin, so I'm a partner at Founders Future. So Founders Future, that is a venture studio. So we are doing mostly 2 things. We are doing venture capital, so we're investing in pre-seed, seed, and Series A. And we are also a startup studio because we are launching every 18 months a company from ourselves and recruiting co-founders in the market. I'm also a business angel, and I changed career 2 years ago. I used to be a lawyer for 10 years, 12 years, still in the finance industry. So I worked for investment fund. I worked for private bank like Citibank, and also for a French law firm called Gide and Kramer-Levin, mostly in the private equity and investment banking side. I was particularly active in the field of innovation. So I was advising a lot of fintech, insurtech in their models. And this is how I started to be a business angel, because I used to see a lot of entrepreneurs coming to my office and telling me, how can I do this? What is the business model? Can I lend money because I'm not a bank? And at the end of the day, I was thinking to those entrepreneurs, I will do this pro bono and I will also invest in your company. So that's how I started to become a business angel. And I met Marc Menace, that is the founder of Founders Future, because we co-invested in 2 companies. And then I changed and I decided only to do the investment job those past 2 years. At Founders Future, we are also really, really keen to have balanced, gender balanced founders. And we have 40% of our portfolio where a female is a co-founder. So it's something, and thank a lot 50inTech, because we are meeting a lot of entrepreneurs through 50inTech, and we are very happy to participate to this webinar.
So thank you very much, Valentine. We will give you a little bit the rules of the Q&A tool. Gail, please, can you explain a little bit how it works?
Yeah, so we've got, you have at the bottom of your screen a Q&A area where you can ask your questions, and you can vote for any questions that is asked already and that you would like us to answer first. You've got the chat area, so really use it. You can present yourself, your company, chat with others. I'm here to answer your questions as well. What else? Yeah, I'm just repeating because some people have joined recently. We are recording this session, so you will be able to see it afterwards. And we will also publish, as well as the video, list of resources that we are gathering, and that will, allow you to go deeper in the subject. Have a good conference.
Thank you very much. So I will close the vote for the survey to give you an overview of the situation. We have a lot of people in a pre-seed round, so 31%, seed round 17%, Series A 3%. Just curious people, you are welcome, 25%, and part of the ecosystem, so 17%, so, and other 8%. So we have mostly pre-seed and seed round people. That was one of the key target of the conference. So we're good, and we'll begin. My first question would be a little bit provocative. Will seed startup VCs stop investing? So you see that now. You want to answer, Valentine?
Seed is not that. Seed is really not that. Obviously, there is something that all the VCs, we needed to focus first, the first month of the lockdown, on our portfolio. And that's particularly true for Founders Future, because we have 36 participation, because we are very active on the market. And so we needed to my daily activity was really back-to-back calls with the participation. That being said, and I think it was also important for us, but for the entrepreneurs, once you have this emergency period that was asking loan to the bank, so you have guaranteed loan in France, or putting other emergency measures, it was important that the entrepreneurs went back to business as usual. And so to really have a short period on this emergency situation. And to give you an example, and something that we have launched, so we are less investing in traditional rounds, because in pre-seed and seed, there is a lot of, I think, it's a very operational approach. You really need to, and it is both true for VCs and both true for entrepreneurs, to have a human match. And that's true that to have this human match based on a Zoom call, it's more difficult than when you are meeting with people. And that's why we have launched an initiative that is called Founders Future Act. And so we have dedicated an envelope of 1 million euros, and we're investing small tickets, but in this period it can make the difference, and that is a very good entry point to enter the Founders Future family. And so we're investing smaller tickets, but in more companies, and we have a focus on companies that are fighting the actual crisis. So it could be fighting the disease, so fighting COVID-19, but it can be also helping the life of people during the lockdown, or it can be also companies that are focusing on a model that will be very resilient post-crisis. So we are still investing, and we are very active. We're having like 8 to 10 calls per day with entrepreneurs that can fit with Founders Future Act. We are also investing in our normal program, so traditional pre-seed and seed. That is true that we met those entrepreneurs before the lockdown, but we have not stopped the discussion, and we have continued the deals, and we are actually open to begin new conversation with entrepreneurs.
So great, Valentine. And Deepali, do you want to give an overview, perhaps also on the UK market?
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, when COVID happened, the first thing I did was pick up the phone and start calling all the funds and start calling all my angel contacts and say, you know, I wanted to put out something in the news, and I wrote this Medium article about, it was called Cash in the Time of COVID, essentially to understand whether people were investing or not. So as Valentine says, it's absolutely right. You know, people are going to focus on their own portfolios. Like I said, if you have a sick child and an unborn child, you're obviously going to focus on the sick one first, because you want to make sure that they have a higher chance of survival, especially if they are a star in your portfolio. You want to make sure you have enough cash and enough resources for them. However, I would say that where pre-seed and seed is concerned, it's definitely more insulated than Series A and Series B, because it's much easier to write a check on Zoom because they tend to be smaller checks. I was on a call earlier today, a webinar with Axel, and they said to me that they have also written checks on Zoom recently. So it's not, and they are Series A and beyond. So I definitely think that, there are, some funds have also shifted focus. They might have been, I've spoken to some people and they said, oh, we used to be Series A, but we're now looking at more pre-seed and seed. So there's almost like a downward movement because people realize that it's easier to write these checks on Zoom. I will say that the market has shifted in the sense the valuations are lower. So, the founder should have this expectation going in that there is going to be a different valuation discussion. It will take longer for the deal to get done. Trying to understand the team dynamics, the body language, all that on Zoom takes more time. So, it will take longer, valuations will be lower. And it might take more than one fund. So in the past, maybe one fund could have written the check, but now it might take longer. It might take more people to write that check, maybe 2 or 3 funds, but definitely seed and pre-seed are not dead.
Yeah, it was about the pitch session. So Valentine, you say that it's complicated for you to meet new founders on Zoom, but you can catch having conversation. And Deepali, I believe that you have like some advice to give, so to learn how to pitch on Zoom, just even having a small chat and first conversation, because of this meeting doesn't happen anymore. What would be your advice to be a great, to make a great pitch on Zoom? I did it personally. It was 2 days ago for 50 angel investors. So it was okay. You need to put a lot of energy, but Deepali, I'm really curious to hear about your advice.
And, I was telling a founder yesterday, because I'm advising on her fundraise, and she was on a call with an investor and I was on the same call. And she went really, really fast. And I said to her before the call that I want you to go slower. I want you to pause a bit. I want you to make sure that you give the investor a time to ask questions, because you can't read the body language. You don't know whether somebody wants to ask a question, whether they've understood all the information, whether they've had time to digest it. So I would say that I would say go slower rather than faster. Stop and pause and say, do you have any questions? Do you need any more clarification? And then I would say over time, bring in other team members, into the Zoom call, offer that, if you want to take this further, I'd like to invite my CFO and I'd like to invite my CTO on the call so you can get to meet all of us. So they kind of understand the team dynamics and how you all work together, as a tag team. And I think it's also a great time to actually get to know the investor themselves. Who are they? For the first time, you have an insight into their life, into their home, into their, try and build like a personal connection, which you couldn't do before. So, these are some of the things that I think, but definitely slowing down is quite key.
You want to add something, Valentine, or?
Yes, and I think that it's very important also now to focus on investors that perfectly know your market or your product. Because if we had to take a decision on a Zoom, it will be on a market, on a product, or that we know perfectly, so we can really focus and not deep dive on your market. So maybe to do more homework that it used to be, because even generalist VCs, because us, we invest in a lot of different areas, food tech, fintech, future of work, but we are really focusing now on business model that we completely understand.
We have a question from Karen. So thank you, Karen, for your first question. And what's the best way to contact you now? So you mean Deepali and Valentine. So
yeah, I'm always on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. So, you can, my email is on LinkedIn. So it's the same that has always been on email.
And me too. So you can contact me on LinkedIn. My email is public. You have Founders Future website, so you can contact us, and you can even share my email in the chat. So please contact me.
And I want to add on 50inTech, of course. So you are now part of the community.
And now, exactly. That's
we
the
need
best
to
way,
avoid
in fact.
the best way is 50inTech. I'm making my own publicity. That's normal. So Karen, I think we answered your question. So you can ask more questions. I will go through the other part of the conversation. We were talking about, apart you, what is the best way to reach the right investor now? You were talking about doing homework, but if you have no warm intro, such what we are doing now, what is the best way to connect them on Twitter, to find someone who can recommend you? Because catching attention now, okay, everybody's at home, but everybody is also on stress, and it's perhaps not a good time to really having this first conversation if you have no intro. What you can do exactly for now to catch people?
I think I would do is, when you reach, and I get this on LinkedIn all the time, when people reach out to me and they send me a fashion brand or something, and they don't really understand what I'm interested in investing in. I think it's very important to understand what your, like Valentine said, what your investor, is it a sector they're interested in investing in, and B, are they currently investing? It's very important to maybe start that way and say, reaching out to you at this point in time, at least for angel investors. There are many angel investors who are not currently investing. So reach out to them, and with an opening, not sure if you're currently investing, but I have this business, would it be of interest if I discussed it with you, rather than sending them your full, pitch deck, everything, I'd like to do a call with you. Are you available this week to do it? Which I find really, you have to be a little empathetic towards what their situation is and whether or not, and give them a few days, really, can I set up a call with you next week rather than this week? I also get lots of messages from men, even during non-COVID time, and I don't invest in men, but they never bother to read my LinkedIn. So it's very important you actually read what the investor is interested in. I would say that in the UK, most of the funds are still investing, because I talk to them very regularly. They're definitely in not business as usual, but investing mode. I send them decks and they always get back to me. So they are investing in the UK. Playfair Capital is also running a very big female founders office hours in June that they mentioned to me. That's something to probably try and sign up for, because it's like 20 or 25 early stage VCs that are participating in that. So if you don't have a warm intro, that might be one way to get into them. But I would say that if you wrote, I think most VCs are definitely working and checking email and responding, especially at a time like this. They realize that it's more important than not to get back to the founders.
Valentine, I will add the question from Martin because she's talking about this first approach. So for you, Deepali, don't set your pitch deck as a first contact. Just wait first to be sure that the investor will be really interested. Valentine, I know that before the situation, you prefer to receive the pitch deck first. What is your current mode of connection? What did you prefer as a first approach?
As you know, maybe it's because of our positioning. Because we only invest if we think that we can bring value to. So it is very important for us to understand perfectly the business, and the pitch deck can help, because it's very something that it's critical to understand at Founders Future, is that even if we're sure that the company will be a success, it will be a unicorn, I don't know, but we think that would be tourist in a cap table and will not bring value, will not invest. So for us, it is very important. That being said, and I think that going back on angel investors, so mostly in France, a lot of angel investors, they are also entrepreneurs. So they are also focusing a lot on their own company. It's not, you have only a few people that are doing only angel investing in France. They are mostly former entrepreneurs. So that's true that they are taking more time, and they will focus also on area that they understood perfectly. In France also, business angels, they are used to co-invest together. So you have groups of people. So maybe you can focus on a leader or someone that is more investing than the others, and they will forward your pitch deck to angel investors they are used to co-invest with. So it can be also a good strategy. And for VCs, I think I have no region on pitch deck or not. It's really based on our positioning that we prefer to receive the pitch deck, so we can reply very quickly on the fact that are we or not bringing value if we invest.
Yeah, I will take a last question about this first approach and with this Zoom situation from an anonymous person. When you finally nail down that Zoom meeting with investors, what format do you like to receive? The pitch deck in PDF or DocSend? So this is really precise.
For me, that's the same.
The same. Okay.
It's the same. It doesn't matter to me.
Now, I think it's better for the founder to know if the investor really read your deck or not. So my advice would be to,
is better for them.
Yeah, and you know the time and everything. So I think it's quite a good idea to do that. So we will go now perhaps more deeply into this COVID situation. In your pitch to investors, so this is another anonymous question. Should founders mention how they are responding to COVID in their pitch directly? So showing your adaptation.
For sure. And I think it will be a key criteria even for the coming years or 2 years, that's sure.
100%. So I've advised all my founders, people that I've invested in, females that I've invested in, as well as that I've advised that you must have a COVID slide, talking about sales cycles or adjustment to costs that you're making, or, anything that might impact revenue or cost on your end. And I would also say that you need to have a financial model, definitely, which is a COVID case. And I would try and raise, if you're trying to raise money, I would try and raise money for, I would say ideally 24 months. I know it's very hard, but at least 18 months. So definitely, yes.
We have a question from Ying. Does COVID, I'm talking in French. So does COVID change the focus of verticals in which you invest or plan to invest? So are you focusing on new market, healthtech, I don't know, more collaboration tools?
On our side, we're investing mostly in 4 what we call transitions. So future of food and beverage, future of banking and insurance, future of retail, future of work, and future of health and wellness. So in fact, we are already have I would say a post-COVID investment thesis. So no, we are not changing our thesis. And why? This is also linked to our positioning. We do not have a clue about biotech. So we do not, so maybe, it can be very interesting, but we will not bring value in new market that we do not understand.
Of course.
I tend to invest in femtech, health tech. I do like biotech, so I will continue to invest in those areas. I did look at a COVID startup actually out of Berlin that was trying to make a biomarker test. So I did do some due diligence on it. It's not a sector I knew well, but I learned a lot in a very short period of time. And I also decided to say no. So it's not a decision that I couldn't decide what to do. But no, I'm going to invest in where I think I can add value as an angel investor.
Yeah, perhaps we can talk about angel investing versus VCs, so VC firms. Is that a better strategy to focus now on angel investment? And we have a question from Yo Jeong about that. But first, is that a good strategy or not?
If you can find the angel investors that are investing, absolutely. Because, again, I spoke to many angel investors. Some said to me, I'm focusing on my current portfolio. Some said to me, I'm not investing at all because, I had a lot of money in public markets and I've lost a lot of money. Or some want to take advantage of the public market dislocation, and it's a more liquid way of making money quicker. So, some angel investors are no longer investing. There are some that are investing. So absolutely, angel money is always more patient capital. So if you can find it, I think it's a good way to raise. It's always a good way to raise. And, there are angel networks in the UK. I spoke to a few of them. They still have angels that are investing. So there are people that are out there that are still investing. In the UK, we will also have this future fund, which is coming out. I don't know if you heard about it. I'm sure there are things in France.
From the government, no?
From the government, exactly.
That is really a first, because they will take equity, no?
They will take, right now they have said they will take a convertible instrument.
Okay.
And they're still trying to figure out the qualification criteria. It wasn't very clear, but they will be match funding, essentially money that is going into the company. So it's a good way to add, grants, even Innovate UK grants. There's something that came out from the government. So grants, government funding, angel investment, whatever you can kind of pile up together, including, cost cutting in your own business is very, very important at this point in time. I think you need to look at all options together.
And we have a lot also in France, Valentine.
Yes, we have the same in France. It's called the French Tech Bridge. And so it will be the same. It will be matching, I will say, a capital increase done by VCs or by angel investors. So it can be a very good way to complete a round. Yeah,
and even loans. So we have a lot of possibility to have more treasury, but for a really early stage company without
any capital at all.
That's complicated. And we have a question from for you both from sorry if I'm not saying well your name, Yu John. What's the ticket size for angel investment? Do you only invest in France and UK, I imagine, based company or international companies as well? If you invest in an international company, how is the structure should it be? Like headquarters should be in certain region or not?
I mean, I have only invested in the UK to date. I have looked at American companies and I've looked at companies in Berlin. If I invested in a company outside of the UK, I would want to do it with other investors that I know well, who know the market, because it's very hard for me sitting in the UK and investing in another jurisdiction that I don't know so well. But having said that, there are Atomico Angel. There is an Atomico Angel in France, Maud, and she's investing. She would be very open to investing in the French market. And I'm happy to put you guys in touch with her.
The ticket size, to be precise about that, it's 25 for the ticket of the Angel Investors Program. If you come from all over Europe, I know that we have a lot of people, 86% of our participants are coming from everywhere in Europe, Sweden, Germany. You have an angel from this program everywhere, basically, and we can...
Yeah, we have Germany, we have France, we have Romania. I mean, we have a lot of different territories. We have 15 angels on the program.
Yeah, you will share with us the link.
Yeah.
So it's 25.
It's all online. If you look at Atomico's website, Angel Program 2020, it has the names of all the people, and you can reach out to them directly.
Yeah, and
or you can, you know, if you want a connection, I'm happy to make that connection.
Yeah, and it is for participation from 25 with a co-investment. So you need to be Atomico need to be agree with you on the investment. That's
Atomico gives you a lot of actually autonomy in investing. So once I decide I want to invest in something, I have one page that I need to fill out, and most of the time I'm already talking to the partner. So it's not like I have to go through an approval process. I can't invest in America. I can't invest in Series A. There are certain things I can't invest in, but I do pre-seed in any case, pre-seed and seed. So it's not, it's actually a fantastic program. It's not bureaucratic at all in any way.
So perfect. And you, Valentine, you want to add something about your ticket?
Yes, we are also investing in France, but in Europe and also in the US. And I totally agree with Deepali. If we invest outside of France, for example, in the US, we'll co-invest. So we will invest with people that we know. And from the ticket size, it's very flexible. So with this Founders Future Act program, we're investing from 0 to 75K. So it's really small tickets. And the same with the pre-seed, seed or Series A that we are doing, we can invest from 50K to millions. So it's really flexible depending on the stage and depending on the size of the round. So we are very flexible.
Yeah, another question about the kind of companies you are investing in. If you are investing so in the US, so that means for your other investment, Deepali and you, Valentine, for your co-investment, it's meant to be an international market. So do you also invest in companies not in your countries, for example, the US, but mean to be on the international market? So not only on the US market, I imagine. I don't know.
No, we have invested in companies that are focusing only because we're doing seed. So at some time, when you're a very small company, you focus first on your market.
Correct.
Most of the time, and it will be the same. We need to co-invest with people that we know.
Okay. Another question from Denise. Hi all. Hi Denise. Some people say that that if VCs ask for metrics in the initial talks for pre-seed seed round, that means that they are not really interested, and they are not sold on the vision. So is that true? Or it's just because VCs are generally more cautious now because of the COVID?
No, I don't think so. And for us, you know, when you're a pre-seed and seed, there is no financial KPIs at the end of the day. We're more asking operational KPIs. And it's just, you know, to understand through those things, the vision of the entrepreneurs. Because at the end of the day, let me take an example. You want to do a direct-to-consumer business. We need to ensure that contribution margin 1, contribution margin 2, contribution margin 3, they have, in the forecast, there is ratios. We're not looking at BPs. We know, you know, that everything will evolve. It's just, you know, it's KPI. It's a way to talk about how the entrepreneurs will execute his business, but that's not at all a financial approach.
And the same for angel investment, I think, Deepali.
I mean, you know, when you're investing so early, and Valentine will tell you this, that a lot of the time there are no metrics, you know, but it's a way to understand exactly how the entrepreneur will execute, what the vision is, whether or not they're capable, whether they're thinking along the right lines. I always ask the question, I always say, what do you think the metrics are for you to raise your next round? So I had a call this morning and I said to her, so, you know, you're raising your seed now. Do you know what the metrics for Series A are? You know, I want to have that faith in the entrepreneur that they're thinking forward and thinking that this is where I am now. What do I need to get to in 12 or 18 months time to raise my next round? So it's not that, you know, I can't do analysis paralysis because there is not that much in numbers, but you want the founder to be able to think.
And add a vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a question about, are you investing in startup in Africa? I think you say no, but short answer.
I looked at things in Africa in the past because my husband grew up in Africa, but I have not invested in any. But again, because I don't know anybody on the ground, it's very hard for me to make a decision without a co-investment partner. Same for us.
Okay. So a question from Yang, some VCs provide operational assistance in addition to fund. Is this a common practice today? So with all this new era of the platform in the VCs, so we are really helping you, Valentine? Or?
Yeah, this is our positioning, because every people at Founders Future used to have a life before that was not linked to investment. So Mark is a serial entrepreneur. I used to be a business angel and a lawyer. But so it depends really on the type of VCs. If you go to a VC firm where people have done VCs all their life, they cannot support you in a different way than only being VCs. Then you have VCs that have set up a lot of operational partners, so operating partners, and so those operating partners can help you. And also, I think that every investors, and it's the same for angel investor, for VCs, and every type. You can benefit also for all the connections of the angel and of the VC that can put you in contact with people that will know the answer, how to help you. So yes, this is a trend. I think this is for the better.
I mean, I only invest in things that I understand well enough, and therefore I feel I have built a network of people around me that I can. So, and I help. I get quite involved. I'm on the advisory board usually, not just on the advisory board. I talk to some of these founders every day to help connect them, whether it's a partnership or whether it's business development, whether it's funds, or recruitment. I'm very, very involved in the business. There are also lots of accelerators, at least in the UK, and they say that they help you operationally and they take equity in the business, some better than others, but it's definitely, lots of very early stage companies go through those in the UK at least.
We have a question again from you, and I think it's a good question, because we are talking about this COVID crisis, and for some startup, travel tech, it's quite complicated now. So Yo, I will tell a bit more about your startup. So you're the CEO and founder of Nomad Air, an app for female globetrotters to encourage solo traveling. And so she's telling that it's quite hard for now for femtech travel companies. So what would be your advice for you now? Waiting, what can she really do now?
Or to focus on investors that like travel tech. For example, on our perspective, it's nothing to the COVID. We're not investing in travel tech. But you have a lot of people and angel investors that have been focusing a lot on travel tech those past months. So yes, wait, or to focus on people that know perfectly the industry. And I think that, and so as they know the industry, they know that in 1 year or 6 months or 4 months, when you do seed, you invest for the 10 next year. So COVID should not be a problem for those investors that are focusing on travel tech.
I would say that travel tech is very hard to raise right now. I'm not going to deny it. At least in the UK market, there are not many people, not many funds, because revenue is not going to come in. We know that until we have a cure or a vaccine, there will be no revenue unless there's some way of making travel tech virtual reality. I mean, I don't know. So there are, having said that, there is an Atomico Angel in Germany who just invested in a travel tech company. So there are pockets of people out there who are, investing early enough. So I don't know what the stage of Nomad Her is, but if it's in product development stage, there might be people who are still interested in investing, because by the time you're done with product development, etc., it might be 6 to 12 months. If it's already, if it was already in launch and revenue generating phase, it will be harder because there is no revenue coming for the next few months. So I would say there are pockets of people that might be investing, but then it also depends on the stage of the business.
And perhaps it's a time to have a reflection about, so because Nomad Air is already launched, it's really a great startup. And if you want to travel after this COVID situation with your friends. So ladies, just use it. That's really great. You can go to host. It's really a secure way. So it's really a great startup. You are based at Station F. I know you. So perhaps it's time to invent another thing. So I don't know, virtual travel. I think people want to explore. So use your host to
try and retain your customers that you have already acquired, because they are at now your biggest asset. So you can't generate revenue out of them, but maybe there's a way to retain them by doing other things instead of spending money on marketing, because you can't acquire new customers right now, but retaining your existing customers is very key through other ways.
Perhaps I know, Valentine, that you have some people of your portfolio, and I know about Rachel, and I love what she did about dance floor.
Exactly.
So she was. You can tell this story just to explain.
So we invested in dance floor. So 2 female co-founders in January, and dance floor was supposed to be in the next coming months a physical studio dedicated to dance. And in fact, in less than 3 days now, they have set up a platform to do virtual classes of yoga, dance, etc. And it's a huge success.
Yeah. So perhaps it's a time to imagine another kind of travel. I think people want travel, so we want to have experience, perhaps on Zoom. Use that to have like really personal experience, focus on culture. And we will be happy to help you to test something. So please reach out us or share something to have like the input of the people on the platform. We'll be really happy to help you. We are here with you. We know that it's complicated now. We have a question from Magali. Hi everybody, do you think that educational platform focused on medtech and biotech business could be a good idea on this crisis? This crisis time, with the community and online courses and resources, could be it easy to raise funds?
Once again, we have this dedicated program, so it's called Founders Future Act, and it's really done. It's for that. So if you are launching something or you are pivoting on sectors that can help us fight the COVID or help us go through the lockdown, you can go on our website, foundersfuture.com, and there is a special section called Act, and we'll be very happy to review your project.
Deepali, you want to add something, or no? I'm going to.
No, I was just going to say that I'm not investing only in product that is currently combating COVID. So I would really like to take a long-term view on the business and see what happens after post-COVID. What are they going to use this community and platform for? If there was a business that was already had a community and platform and they were pivoting during COVID, I can understand that. But otherwise, I have to have a longer-term view on the product and the business. So it's very hard for me to answer that question.
We have a great proposition from Victoria. So great webinar, quick question. Would you ladies agree that there is too many startups out there, many overlapping mission, vision, even between London and Paris ecosystem? And that's one beautiful project which we could jointly explore, perhaps through 50inTech, is to encourage some consolidation this COVID days. So make a 1 + 1 worth 3 ultimately.
Do you want to answer that, Caroline? You should answer that.
I don't know, perhaps we can. Yeah, we have we already, so for us competitors down now, we are currently ending to raise money. We would love to add people in our project. So if we are doing the same, of course, it depends of the size of the company, the innovation, and so of course.
I think there will be consolidation. I think there will be companies dying, there will be companies consolidating, whatever, it will be the survival. Everybody's in survival mode. So whatever makes you survive is going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to talk with your competitors now, to look at it, to see. It's a question of resources. Do you have treasury or not? We have, other competitors don't have. That's a question, and that's terrible, but that's the market. So we need to talk together and to see if we can collaborate. And if not, we need to go back to other work. The good news is that there is a lot of people and companies who are looking great entrepreneurs to join us now, and we have a lot of people who are requesting great companies, great tech companies who are requesting us to find great entrepreneurs to be with us as a really C-level management. So I think collaboration is a good way, and we need to talk about that. Perhaps we can launch conversation about that on the platform. We'd be happy to organize that. And if not, I think it's you know, it's a pandemic. If it's not working, it's not always your fault, you know. And we need to be honest and to be kind with ourselves. It's a complicated time. We have another question. Do you, so from Ying, do you found early stage company from M&A? For M&A.
Yeah, I think it's mergers
it's acquisition.
and acquisition.
Yeah, acquisition, talking about the acquisition.
Yeah, mergers and acquisition.
Yeah, mergers and acquisition, yeah.
I mean, I have not. I'm just an angel investor, and I'm investing in early stage companies that are just looking to grow, not to do any sort of roll up strategy, but maybe Valentine is.
No, the same for us. Same for us.
Okay. Do we have another question? Perhaps one. No, it was about merger and acquisition. The last one from Ying, and I have perhaps another from Julia. What about RegTech? So.
I love RegTech. I'm a former lawyer and head of compliance at the bank, so I love RegTech. So please, we have invested in as a business, and I have invested in legal tech. Yeah. Not yet in RegTech, but I'm very keen to invest in RegTech.
So go, it's your time, Julia. And another question from Valerie: do you invest in companies before they have revenue?
Very much so. I've invested in many companies before they had revenue. And in fact, I've invested in a company before they even had a product. So, but you know, she was the second time co-founder. So yeah, it was far easier to do that. But I have invested in companies. It depends on the sector. You know, if it's a very competitive sector, then I need traction. If there is a first mover advantage or a second mover, you know, in the sector, then it's different. So it really depends on which sector you are in.
Julia, just to reach Valentine out, she said about LinkedIn, of course, 50inTech. So if you want to reach her on 50inTech, you need to add that you are looking for VC and funding, and to ask a request. So that's really pretty easy to reach Valentine. You can find Valentine on LinkedIn. So find it on 50inTech. So it's Valentine, because you have two names, Valentine. It's
I have two names, and my name is Valentine Baudoin, Baudoin.
We have shared the link in the chat, and we've
of the profile.
Yeah. Profile on 50inTech and on LinkedIn as well. So have it on the chat, and you can also, Julia has been asking the question, so if you go to Q&A, you can click on the link as well.
Okay, great. And perhaps my last question would be, because of the situation, perhaps an advice from you about the cash management. So if we have a few, what are the spending cuts you would recommend us? And if you need to lay off, what can be the alternative? In France, it's perhaps easier than in UK. So we have 9 minutes, so you have the time to
I mean, I would really focus on cash. I was listening to some other people before, and they were fantastic. There was a founder in there, and she essentially said that you need to, you know, you have a P&L, you need to start from scratch. You just need to say, this is a new world, and this is the new way that I have to do things for the next 12 to 18 months. What are the things I really need? What are the top 3 expenses that I really need to spend money on? You know, that's the first thing to do it. So really bottoms up rather than top down, rather than cutting. rebuilding, yeah, then I would say, you know, you can look at your customers. You know, if you're already a launched business, a direct B2C brand, you almost know who your customers are if you're direct D2C. Try and figure out, are these customers spending right now? You know, which income category they're in. Are they going to spend? Are they going to buy this product? You know, we know there are certain products like, do your hair dye at home, or, you know, there's certain products like skincare people will still buy. But there might be many others which are considered luxury now, and they're not going to be spending that money. So really figure out, is somebody going to be buying my product? And that's when you figure out whether or not you spend on marketing, right? And if you're, first of all, you can get a lot more bang for your buck on marketing right now, but I would probably not spend on marketing unless you can acquire those customers who are spending. Rather focus on retention. You know, how do I retain my current customers? Maybe I can give them a discount and have them buy product rather than spend that marketing money on acquiring a new customer. So very important to look at marketing, look at any of your, you know, T&E, other things that are anyways going to be cut off. You know, do you really need, think about, do you really need an office space anymore? You know, depending on your size, because now you have become quite efficient, probably 5 or 6 weeks into it from working at home. So do you really need, so really look at your cost structure and be very scrappy and ruthless about it. You know, great time to be recruiting, for example, for product. There are lots of people out there who will be available, maybe slightly cheaper, might not be enough for them to do. So really, I would look at your costs and focus on, just spend money on either they're going to be revenue generating things for the next few months. Unless, of course, you're an industry that is benefiting from COVID, then it's different. I'm talking about companies that are, you know, not are seeing an adverse effect from COVID right now. Cash is queen at this point in time, so I would really try and conserve.
Valentine,
and maybe if cash is queen, monetization is king. Yeah. And I will say that really companies, what they need, because what they need to focus is that putting money only if the product is a need to have. I think that, yes, nice to have, and there is a lot of nice to have on the market, you know. It was super cool before the crisis, but I think that really if there is one message, is that companies need to build a model that can be resilient and where you can have monetization and strong monetization. And this is equal also to marketing expenses. So all your cost of acquisition, everything has to be in a very, very, very prudent way, because it will, for the next 12 to 20 months, and I think even more, all those hyper growth model with a huge burn will be dead. This is dead. Yeah. So really, cash is king, but monetization is queen.
And we love queen. Namizata asked a last question, and it's on your topic, Valentine. What about retail tech? We need to redefine the service in store, and the logistic is a big part of that. So
we are investing in the future of retail. This is one of our 5 trends and 5 transitions. So we are investing in retail tech, and so happy to discuss about that.
Yeah, but perhaps sometimes it's not so easy to for the supply chain now. So depending if you are doing delivery food such as AP3, it's okay. But sometimes another product, not essential product, it could be difficult now. No,
that's the same. I think that you need to have versus nice to have.
Okay, so focusing on a need to have now. Okay, so this is the end of the session. Deepali, Valentine, you want to add a word, something about that last advice, really short?
I mean, I would say be safe. That's the most important thing right now, and be healthy. And, you know, I think people will start settling into a new normal. You know, the first few weeks of any crisis, it's come so suddenly. But I think things will start flowing and things will start moving in the coming weeks for sure. So it's not all doom and gloom. we all realize that, you know, early stage funding needs to happen. It's a very key part of the economy. The government will do a lot, you know, there'll be grants, there'll be, and I think the best investors always invest through the cycle. The smartest investors realize that you might be able to get some really good companies and back some really good founders and back some really good new creative businesses. You know, out of every opportunity there is, out of every crisis there is some opportunity that comes. So I would just say that I would just keep going relentlessly.
Thank you very much, Deepali. And Valentine, do you want to?
And the same, because when you invest at seed or where you are founders, you have a long-term vision. And in the next 10 years, you know, COVID will be a souvenir. So really, and I think you have to focus on mid-term and long-term, and everything will be okay.
So thank you very much. For me, I want to say stay safe and stay strong. You can review a video we just did with Geraldine Lemer and Kim Walsh from HubSpot from Startup, really with great advice on sales, okay, and cash management. So you can review that. It's already on the platform. And next week, we will explore another topic, but really important for us, to be about mental health and workplace. So as a founder or as people working now, so at home, but you know that burnout, Zoom burnout, all these things are happening now. So we will invite a great startup, the head of psychology of Unmind normally. So we will communicate on Monday for this next session. And if you have any feedback, so we will share a link with the feedback. Please fulfill it. It's important because we will give the feedback to Deepali and Valentine. They take time for us, so we want to share that with them. And it's important too to know about your preoccupation and your what you need now. So please tell us, and we will really do everything to be helpful for you. We are here for that, so we are very pleased to do that. So see you next week, and thank you very much again, Deepali and Valentine.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.